Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Fractured Realities. Here today, we're going to discuss something that is sort of bothers me. It's something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's the whole all-in culture. How people have to be all-inclusive to a certain set of beliefs to where they're not willing to reach moderation and to speak to people of different views, different cultures. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I won't delve too deep into story time because I don't want to bore anybody here, but I grew up on the lower west side of Cleveland, Ohio, in a Hispanic neighborhood. Well, before it was a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, it was more of a Polish and Irish immigrant neighborhood. My parents were from West Virginia. They were from down south. Actually, my dad lived in both West Virginia and southern Pennsylvania. My mom was from West Virginia. The schools that I went to were... I don't know if any of the youngsters here are aware of it, but there was forced busing because they said at that time that Cleveland was too integrated, even though the neighborhood that I lived in was already pretty integrated. There were blacks, whites, Hispanic, a few Indians. It was predominantly Caucasian at the time, and with maybe the Hispanics reaching a close second, but it just was what it was. It was home. I didn't think about it in cultural terms. I didn't think about it in terms of us versus them. It was never that. Even though my parents were from down south, I grew up in an urban environment, so you had the little sort of mini cliques, the hillbillies, you had the stoner kids, you had the Hispanic kids, the rappers, which at that time everybody thought they were Vanilla Ice with the little slits in their eyebrows and stuff, but that's cool. I was always the different one. I hung out with the skaters, I hung out with the punk rockers, I hung out with my homies from the hood, I hung out with people from the suburbs. I didn't really care about cultural acceptance. And at that time, we pretty much could get along. We could all reach common causes. Not everybody could always get along all the time, but we could reach common things. Like, I've been to concerts where there were, the heavy metal kids, there were some goth kids there, there were the punk rockers, there were the hardcores, there were the skinheads, both the racials and non-racials. And for the most part, everybody got along. Somebody got knocked down in the pit, several people would help them up, despite our cultural differences and despite the fact that we had different political beliefs or religious beliefs, or some of us were straight edges, some of us were dopers. We all found common ground. But that just doesn't seem to be the culture nowadays. And that was growing up on the East Coast, where it was more. But then I can remember when I was a young man in my 20s, I took a trip with one of my friends to California. Sunny California, where all the girls are beautiful and everything's great. But I noticed something about the West Coast culture when I was there, was that everybody was all in for what they were. The heavy metal kids all had to have, the eyeliner and wear the tight jeans and the Motley Crue t-shirts, and then, the death metal kids all had to have the long straggly hair and had to have, the little beard and goatee that came down the Fu Manchu thing. The skaters all had to have, short hair on the sides and the big poofy thing. The punk rockers all had to have mohawks or bobs. They couldn't listen to different kinds of music. Like, you couldn't if you were like a metalhead, you couldn't like hang out with the skaters. They'd all stand around and make fun of your tight jeans, or they'd make fun of the Death T-shirt that you were wearing. It was odd. I didn't like it. It seemed like people weren't authentic, like they weren't genuine. But then when I got back to the East Coast, here I am hanging out with one of my friends who's driving around listening to NWA. And in the back seats, another one of my friends who's a punk rocker, and we got one of our friends who are a skateboarder, and me. I listen to all kinds of stuff. I was all across the board. I always had long hair, but that's more of a barbarian thing than a cultural expression, so to speak. It just, it was always more of a freedom thing for me, having long hair for several years. When I did security and private law enforcement in Cleveland, I had short hair. I did the whole Boy Scout, socially acceptable lifestyle. But, when I got older and when I moved out here to Montana, I no longer gave a fuck. That's when I started getting more tattoos. I started getting my neck done, and I got my hands. And I like being free. I like being myself. I don't like being put in a box. Just because society says you are. But a lot of people, whether they realize that or not, even when they go against the supposed mainstream, they still stay within their little cultural norms. And there's several groups that are especially egregious of this. Like, number one, politics. I just kind of backed off of politics on my videos a long time ago because it's just such a burning issue, especially with Trump being in the White House and everybody screaming this. Drinking smart water, it still hasn't taken yet. I'm still kind of dumb, but that's all right. Hopefully it'll do its job. But yeah, it's just, you have Antifa, and then you have the far rights, and then you have the Christian right, and you have the socialists, and it's just, everybody's screaming Nazi or communist. Nobody's talking to anybody. Nobody's meeting common ground. People are throwing fists. People are throwing bottles. There's riots in the streets every time people don't get their way politically, and it's just, it has become absolutely ridiculous. It is just a very aggressive culture now for people who disagree, especially on social media. On Facebook, if you disagree with somebody, they're going to lash out at you. They're going to, I've been told that I'm a Nazi. I've been told that I'm a communist. I've been called a Satanist. I've had people make personal attacks at me, look at my pictures and tell me I look like a pedophile, just all kinds of nasty, horrible shit because I had a disagreement with them or I didn't agree. So I just said, let people feed into that negative monster. I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to post shit about Donald Trump. I'm not going to post shit about Nancy Pelosi or any of them. I don't need it. That's just bullshit mainstream excuse to keep us divided and to keep us fighting with each other. And that's what I try to tell people. I'm like, you're achieving nothing by posting 9,000 far right-wing videos or far left-wing videos, anti-Trump, pro-Trump. All you're doing is feeding this animosity. You're creating more. You're just building it up, and it's pointless. Okay, I have some right-leaning views, and I have some left-leaning views. When it comes to social freedoms and freedom of speech, I'm definitely in the right-wing camp with that. But then again, once you go too far into the right-wing camp, then you start infringing upon people's rights. I'm not a drug user, but I'm all for the legalization of marijuana and the legalization of medical marijuana for people's use. If they want to do that in their home, Fucking more people die every year from alcohol than all the street drugs combined, yet it's legal. So what the fuck is the point in the or criminalization of marijuana? You know, and other drugs, magic mushrooms, shit like that, that's fine. I'm definitely not a proponent of legalizing, you know, heroin or methamphetamine or crack cocaine or any of that bullshit. And I also think that the medical or the pharmaceutical industry definitely needs to watch what they prescribe to people. I mean, diazepam and what is it? Federal or Oxycontin. It's just fucking crazy, the shit that they just give people over the counter that's just as bad as any street drug. It's basically synthetic heroin, but you know, it's all fine because the government says it's okay. You know. But then when it comes to the hotbed issues like abortion, I personally don't like it when people use abortion as a form of birth control, when they terminate a pregnancy due to inconvenience in their life. I'm not a fan of that. And I'm definitely not a fan. I think that partial birth abortion or afterbirth abortion is absolutely barbaric. But I have to go on the side of the left and call myself pro-choice, because once the government starts telling men, women, anybody what they can and can't do with their bodies, it's a slippery slope. You know, next thing I know, tattoos might be illegal. Next thing I know, women wearing too many cosmetics in public. Then we start falling back into the puritanical times. You can't give the government power and legislation over people's bodies. You can't do it. So, yeah, that's, you know, I've been called a communist and you know, a left-winger, in which I do not support communism. I do not support socialism. I'm all about legal immigration, but I am definitely against illegal immigration. And I am a free speech advocate. And whether that free speech happens to hurt people's feelings or not, that's fine. I don't care that Louis Farrakhan doesn't like white people. Louis Farrakhan has a right to say what Louis Farrakhan wants to say. Now, if Louis Farrakhan marches a bunch of black Muslims into my house and whips my ass because I'm a white man, that's different. That's criminal. Speech is not criminal. You can't tell people how to think. All you do when you do this is you create more radicalism, but people don't realize this. They have to be all in on one side or all in on the other politically. So if you're right wing, you have to be pro-gun, you have to be pro-life, anti-immigration. If you're on the left, you have to be pro-choice, anti-gun, pro-socialism, pro-mass immigration. And I mean, and that's the problem. You know, you either have the Senate or the Congress, majority right or the majority left, and they all vote along the party line, so nothing ever gets solved. Nothing ever comes to fruition. It's just debate after debate after debate, and nothing ever stops. So, you know, like I said, I sit back and I let other people talk about politics. I'm not fucking Glenn Beck. I'm not going to make my life around politics and around politicians, because in my opinion 99% of them are full of shit. The few legitimate ones aren't heard, or if they are heard, everything that they say gets naysayed and turned into something else, you know. And it's just ridiculous. It's this all-in paradigm where everybody has to be all 100% Trump Republican or 100% Cortez Democrat. Yeah, I mean, come on, find a fucking middle ground. That's what the people want. The people want moderation. The people want to make their own choices. Like, why do politicians even have to run as Republicans or Democrats? In my opinion, that limits them right away as to their views. Why can't they just put an I in front of their name, or put nothing in front of their name and tell you what their views are and tell you what they stand for, instead of playing political lines? I think that we would be in a much better place. So you have all in with that. And then, like I said, another thing is styles. Me personally, I don't often, but I can put on a fucking 3-piece suit and slick back my hair and, look, sort of almost respectable in a kind of Don Corleone sort of way. But hey, I can, wear my fucking horror tees or my jeans, or I can fucking put on some baggy pants and go work out and, throw on my wife beater. It doesn't matter to me, but some people are all in on this fashion thing. Like, yeah, if you wear a wife beater, you must be a wife beater scumbag. Hey, you're wearing a headband, you must be that. I mean, the truth of the matter is, the reason I wear hats and headbands is because I have an extremely huge forehead and it shines in the videos. So, yeah, unless you want to fucking be staring at my shiny ass forehead, that's why I wear hats. I'm not balding, I'm not a gangster, but yeah, I don't want my forehead shining for the world to see. But yeah, people critique fashion. Oh, big girls shouldn't wear this, small girls shouldn't wear that. Men shouldn't wear this, women shouldn't wear that. Hey, if you're a guy and you want to wear a fucking dress, wear a dress. If you're a fucking big girl and you want to wear a belly shirt that has, your rolls hanging out, that's fine. If you're a little skinny girl and you want to fucking dress baggy, wear whatever the fuck you want. It's your choice. It's your life. When your life comes to an end, you're going to have to look back at the choices you made, and you're going to have to be happy with yourself. That gratifying this to society isn't going to matter. That's not going to be who you are. That's not what creates you. So whatever your style is, rock it. If you want to fucking go outside looking homeless, go outside looking homeless. You want to frickin' dress in Hugo Boss or Versace suits and look like $1 million even though you live in a trailer park, do it. Go for it. I'm not going to critique you. I don't give a shit what you look like or how you dress. But then again, we have that. Oh, you can't wear that. That's last year's fashion. It's like, I don't care about last year's fashion. Shit, I'm fucking fashionably inept for any generation probably after the 1980s. I mean, shit, I was pretty non-fashionable back then, as I can remember, wearing my 1970s hand-me-downs because we were poor. That's what I had. So I was wearing the bright-ass striped tight shirts and the fucking corduroy jeans from that. And you know what? I didn't care. I got made fun of, yeah, sure, but whatever, We all have our own styles. Love your style. Love who you are. Don't worry about what people think. That's a big problem, And then music. And this has always drove me nuts. I've never been a big, huge rap fan or a huge country fan, but I like Johnny Cash. I like the Beastie Boys. I like House of Pain. I like Cypress Hill. I like the shit that was cool back when I was growing up. Not much into the modern things, but now people act like you can only listen to Five Finger Death Punch and Slipknot or Extension. You can't have a happy in between, and that's just it's literally it's cultural Marxism. It's cultural dividing that we're doing. It's based on music, it's based on religion, it's based on styles of dress, and it's just ridiculous. I have tattoos all over myself, but I've never been in prison. I don't do drugs. I was sober for every single tattoo that I ever had done. Yeah, I felt it. Yes, it hurt, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm not a skinhead. I'm not a biker. But yes, I choose to cover myself with tattoos because, yeah, I'm pretty plain Jane, normal, everyday run of the road. So, yeah, I'd like to decorate myself. So, hey, that's what it is. Not that I owe anybody an explanation, but this is just who I am. I'm just a person. I'm just trying to do my own thing and live my own life and not worry about what the fuck culture says that I need to be. Then you have another thing that absolutely drives me nuts. And females are the absolute fucking worst about this. I'm sorry, I'm not bashing women here, but goddamn, do you really have to be so negative about women who are larger or women who are smaller? I hear that all the time. Skinny bitch eat something, or fat bitch go on a diet. What does that person's appearance, how does that affect your life? How does that change you? Or, oh, those goth girls are sad all the time, or those heavy metal chicks are all sluts, or those rap girls just like to shake that. It's all across the board. People are all different. Every single person is different and unique. You can't keep putting people in boxes and categorizing everything. I know. I realize that this new generation coming up loves to fucking categorize things. Every time I go into one of my heavy metal or punk rock groups, I hear about all these different subgenres that I've never even fucking heard of. We didn't have a million different subgenres of heavy metal and punk rock and rap and everything, but everything has a subgenre. And even people's, and I'm not gay bashing, I don't have anything against gay people, but do you really need, 70 or 80 different sexual classifications? Can't you just be gay, straight, or into fucking a little bit of everything? There were 3 when I was growing up. That kept it pretty simple. But yeah, your generation likes to classify things. But by doing that, you're also putting everybody into little groups and little genres, which isn't good, because that doesn't allow, you put somebody in this cultural box, you don't allow them to expand. You don't allow their soul to expand as a person. And see, that's another thing that I've always had a little bit of an issue with, is institutional religion. Be religious, be spiritual. I have friends that are all faiths. I don't care that you're a Christian. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care if you're a Jew or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Farsi. It's based on the person that you are. I don't care what your spiritual beliefs are. But why is it when you get into some of the major religions, especially Christianity and Islam, where it's just expanded? They feel the need to punctuate and reform you, to bring you to their way of life. And if you don't, you're going to burn in hell eternally. You're damned. You're an infidel. It's ridiculous. Okay, you shouldn't have to be all in. You should say, hey, maybe I'm Christian, but I believe in reincarnation. Oh my God, you're going to burn in hell. You're evil. You're a Satanist. Come on. A little bit of moderation. Just respect other people. If you want to be a good Christian and you want to help the world, be a better fucking person. Be a decent person. Help yourself. Take care of your own problems. You don't have to evangelize the world. You don't have to cure me of my sins. Cure yourself of your own sins. Clean your own fucking hands. And you'll be a much happier person. Come to a spiritual understanding, whatever that spiritual understanding is, within yourself. You don't need a group. I don't have to listen to a preacher with shiny shoes driving around in a Cadillac tell me how I have to be humble and how I have to bend the knee to an invisible entity. It just doesn't feel right for me. If it feels right for you, that's fine. Or if you enjoy going to a church or a religious organization and enjoying the companionship, having people around you that are like mine, that's fine too. But that doesn't mean that other people who don't do that are bad or evil people. It's this, like I said, the all-in mentality, to where you have to be all this or all that, or you're damned. You're a social outcast. You're horrible. and that's the reason. I mean, people are seriously choosing up sides, and it's not that simple. There's many shades of gray in this world, and people need to you don't have to respect or like other people's views, but you don't have to adamantly attack them either. Like I've said before, I'm up for debate. I'll debate a Muslim. I will debate a Christian. I will debate a Jew. I will debate a pagan. I will debate an atheist. Anybody who wants to come on here and have a civil conversation with me, I'm absolutely all for it. But once you start screaming and yelling and throwing down ultimatums and telling me what I am and defining me and putting me in a box, it's over. Like, click off. It's done. I don't. Your obvious partisanship for what you are is going to force you to shut off. You have the shut off switch when anything goes outside of your beliefs. And, I can't be around people like that. I have to be around people who are open-minded. That's just me, But hey, if anybody wants to debate the merits of religion, the merits of Islam, the merits of Christianity, Judaism with me, that's fine. Hit me up in the comments and we'll set up a Skype session and we'll do it live. I'm all up for it. I don't have anything to worry about. I've studied all the major religions, so I have a little bit of knowledge to back it up. So yeah, if you want to talk, let's talk. But don't throw down ultimatums and don't tell me I'm going to burn in hell because I don't believe what you believe, or else, you're pretty much just proving that you're in that box. So we get to other things. Then you have the people in the truth movement, or as mainstream shittily likes to refer to it as, is the conspiracy theory movement. And you have some people that dive all in to it without actually studying it from different sources. They watch a couple videos and then all of a sudden, everything that they see and that they don't remember is a Mandela effect. The Earth is definitely flat. We definitely live beneath a dome. NASA is a lie. The moon landing is fake. Jacqueline Kennedy killed John Kennedy. The 9/11 conspiracy is that. It's just so many people are looking for something new and exciting that they fall all into these categories. And I'm not saying those things are or aren't true. I'm not debunking anything, but what I'm saying is that, if somebody comes and tells you, hey, I've flown in a plane, I've climbed in a mountain, I've, been in the ocean, and I can literally see the curvature of the Earth. Yeah, when you're sitting on a flat plane or in a flat area, you can see straight for miles. That doesn't mean that the Earth's not curved. That just means that you're on a more flat plane. You're talking about a very gradual curve. The Earth is 44,000 miles around. You're not going to see the curvature of the Earth by standing on one side of a lake and seeing what's on the other side of the lake 30 miles away. It doesn't curve that much. But, I don't want to go on about this and pick on the flat earthers, because I have a lot of friends who are flat earthers, and that's fine. That's their belief. My grandfather was a flat earther a long time before it was popular. He totally believed that if you sailed far enough, you're going to hit a fucking water wall and fall off the side of the Earth. I mean, he literally believed that. Truth, I don't, but he did. So, hey, so be it. It doesn't make him a bad person. He wasn't an unintelligent person. It's just what he chose to believe. Then you have, another thing where people seem to be all in, and it's really getting weird, is feminism. And before I start, I'm not going to be one of those feminist destroyers or what, because I think that there's a lot of things like in the feminist movement that are necessary. I'm all about the Me Too movement, where these Harvey Weinsteins and these fucking rich old scumbags and these fucking Bill Clintons and Bill Cosbys and these rapists who use their power over women and get away with it because they're rich. Yeah, I'm all for that. Even though it's a pretty leftist cause, I can get behind it because it's that. But then you get into other things where I don't really understand. I don't see why. Okay, you're a feminist. That means that you have to hate white straight males, that white straight males are suddenly the enemy. What? I mean, yes, we were in power, and yes, for the most part, we still do hold power in Western civilization, but we are also the ones who gave you the freedom of speech to say that we're evil, cis, patriarchal. We freed the slaves. We helped give you the right to vote. White men are not the problem. Some are, some aren't. Some black men are the problem. Some lesbian, midget, Afghani feminists are the problem. It's people. It's not about one race or one culture that's the problem. It's about people's inability to think. So, I mean, if you want to blame white, cis, patriarchal males for everything, that's fine. But look back at the suffrage movement and the people who voted in the laws against domestic violence, and you'll find out that quite a few of those people had, cracker-lacking skin like myself. It doesn't mean that we're the bad guy. I know that's what the mainstream likes to point us out and say, yeah, that's a white guy. He's straight. He's Christian. He owns guns and wants to kill people and wants to oppress minorities and women. And I don't want any of that shit. I want to sit at home and eat fucking Cheetos and play video games and be left the fuck alone from all the madness in the world. That's what I want. I'm not oppressing anybody. I'm oppressing the fucking remote on my damn PlayStation 4, and that's about it. So, think what you want, but hey, it is what it is. And then you have some of the new age people who are, and this is kind of part of the truther movement too, but there's the all in, it's either love, light, turn the other cheek, we all must be as one, or it's all, downright conspiracies. And maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Maybe we could be decent people and disagree. Maybe I can care about you and tell you, hey, you're being a fucking asshole, or you're being a whiny little bitch, complaining about fucking nothing. I can do that. That doesn't mean that I don't care about you. That means that I am truth, which is what the truther movement should be. But it's not. It's all one side or the other, And if I tell you that I'm not a Christian because I see the Christian church as a obtrusive religion. It came into Europe and it destroyed all the pagan temples and everything. It was a Far East religion. And that's not to say that there aren't good Christian people. There are. Christianity's great. Many Christian churches do a lot for people. I've had Christian churches help me, and thank you. And I've helped them. I've attended churches. Anytime you go to a wedding or a funeral, you're going to be subject to a mass, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going to lose my shit because I see the baby Jesus in the nativity scene because I don't believe in your Middle Eastern religion. But if I tell you that I don't believe in that, oh my God, what do you believe in? Well, hey, that's a personal belief. I'm not going to get into my religious beliefs or lack thereof with you. Because, like I said, moderation. I believe everybody's entitled to think or express their spirituality any way that they want without being attacked by other groups. And that's the thing now. People have to be all in with the Christianity, or all in with Islam, or all in with Buddhism, or whatever they're all in with. They can't have moderation and look at other cultures. I can look at some Middle Eastern religions or Far East religions and say, yeah, Hinduism, Buddhism, I can look at them and say, yeah, there's good things in that. Christianity as well. Even Islam. I mean, hey, they eat a lot healthier than most Christians do. There's good and there's bad in all religions. But if you're going to just cast stones on the ground and say, ye be damned, all you're doing is you're bringing negativity on yourself. You're just lowering your spiritual ability to grow. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But keep your negativity away from me, because that's not the path that I've chosen. So be all in. Stay in with the groups that do exactly what you want and think what you want, and have the echo chamber. Hang out with the guys who all have the same haircut and the same hairdo, and listen to the same music, and drive the same truck, and work the same job, and have the same political views. That's fine. I'll stay single and I'll just be me. And that's who I'm always going to be. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to blow with the wind because of this movement or that movement, or because of social media, or because of pressure. But then you have some people who go all in with the ego. Oh my fucking God. Where they cannot just be a spiritually awakened person. No, I'm not a spiritually awakened person. I am an 8th degree ascended master from the 25th dimension, an ascendant of Loki. I mean, it's unbelievable how many of these people are online. It's like, calm the fuck down. Who told you were an ascended master? Aliens came down and told you that you were an ascended master, and I am supposed to believe all that. But I'm not supposed to believe that the earth is round. I'm not supposed to believe that a man walked across water. But I'm supposed to take you at your word that you're an ascended master and a higher enlightened being. Bullshit. You're a human just like me. You can impress some of those fucking hippie chicks with that rhetoric, but you're not impressing me. And no, I don't have anything against hippie chicks. I don't have anything against any type of women. I mean, I post things sometimes sarcastically about women on Facebook, and they go nuts. But the truth of the matter is, I've dated goth girls. I've dated preppy girls. I've dated models. I've dated women who are less attractive. I've dated big girls. I've dated skinny girls. It doesn't matter to me. It's all about how somebody is and how they are, And I guess in my circumstance, how crazy they are and how many daddy issues they have, and how they incorporate that into me somehow. But we won't get into that. I've done other videos about that shit. So, but yeah, calm the fuck down. You don't have to go all in with your ego to where you judge other people and other cultures harshly. Just be a little bit more open, man. Sit down with somebody and talk to them. Don't yell. Don't say. When they speak, let them talk. Let them finish what they're saying. Don't wait to speak. Listen. Listen to other people. Listen to other views. And you're going to find out that you're a much happier person. Since I decided not to post all kinds of negativity, I'm not going to go make YouTube videos bashing other YouTubers. I'm not going to go bashing any movements or any political parties or any religions or anything else. I'm going to speak my point of view, and that's it. And I'm trying to be an enlightened person. I'm trying to grow. No, I am not an 8th degree ascended master from the Palladian star system. I'm just a fucking human being. I'm just a fucking average looking, average intelligent, average height person from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm nothing special. All I am is somebody who has views, and I share my views with you. If you like them, that's fine. If you disagree, that's fine too. Everything's open for interpretation. Don't listen to me or create your life choices based on me. You're going to end up in a bad place. Just be you. Be who you want to be. Be what makes your soul grow and makes your soul happy. Who cares what social media says? Who cares what the mainstream media and the religion say you have to be? If you live in that kind of box, you are not going to be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be you. Or just be another babbling sheep online jumping onto a cause. So I love you all. Just open your minds and think. Open your hearts to other people and other cultures. Doesn't mean that you have to let 90 million Somali immigrants live in your house. It just means that be a decent person. You don't have to be all in. You can have views. You can have right-wing and left-wing views at the same time. You can have Christian and Far East beliefs. You can be a pagan and be somewhat of an agnostic or an atheist. You can have these views. You can do it. It's you. You're the only one who has to answer to yourself. You don't have to answer to the world, and you sure as hell don't have to answer to social media. Thank you again. I love you. Be true to yourself. Goodbye.